Welcome to this edition of the program. I'm Mary Evers.
And I'm John Luck. Coming up, we'll highlight some of the stories you've seen on the updates over the past few weeks, along with some new information as well. It's hard to believe that it's been a little over 20 years since our country was shaken following the September 11th attacks in New York City, Washington, D.C., and Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Residents here in town gathered on September 10th at Boyd & Quad over at BSU and on the 11th outside the Academy building. Thousands of lives were lost that day, affecting thousands of families, but as the years passed, the message remained the same: to never forget.
Every generation has a profound moment that is forever seared in its collective memory. A tragic event that inflicts great pain, that so upends the world that we feel lost and disoriented for a while. A powerful experience that lives with us forever and whose consequences affect us for decades. For my grandparents, it was the attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941, a day which will live in infamy. For my parents' generation, it was the assassination of President John F. Kennedy in Dallas on November 22nd, 1963. For our generation, it is the horrendous morning of September 11th, 2001. And as Tyler reminded us, we are mindful that many of our students were not even born until after 9/11, but that the echo of that day continues to reverberate throughout their entire lives.
We promise to honor the sacrifice of the men and women serving in our military in the days and years that followed, home and abroad, those already serving, and others inspired to leave their civilian lives behind to defend a wounded nation. We promise to continue to protect our communities and guard against unseen evil that waits for weakness and opportunity. We promise to carry on a legacy of selfless service to others, a challenge that has been accepted by the next generation of police officers and firefighters, many of whom stand here before you today.
We have both ceremonies available on our YouTube page. Just search BTV Access Corporation.
Between September 13th and 15th, over 1,400 Massachusetts students and teachers tested positive for COVID-19, and 15 of those cases were from Bridgewater. 13 students and 2 employees at the Williams Intermediate School tested positive for the virus, which prompted an entire 4th grade class to be placed into quarantine during the week of September 15th. BR Assistant Superintendent Ryan Powers talked to NBC Boston about the Delta variant's impact on the district and said, "Having 3 students 3 days in a row in a classroom, that was new for us. We haven't experienced that. It's concerning." Powers goes on to say that he thinks it points to the level of spread of the new Delta variant and how contagious it might be. "We are seeing older students at the high school testing positive, and they're vaxxed. On the district site, there is a link to track the COVID-19 stats. For the week of September 25th through October 1st, across the district, there were 31 total positive COVID tests among students and teachers."
Taking a look at the COVID trends across the community as a whole, and there has been an uptick in numbers for the September 30th report that comes from the state's Department of Public Health. There were 103 cases over a 2-week span with a positivity percentage of 3.79%, a nearly 1% rise from the prior week. The state doesn't release the breakthrough cases by community in its weekly report, but we can tell you at the last council meeting, Town Manager Michael Dutton said 60% of residents here in town have received 1 dose of the vaccine, while 55% are fully vaccinated.
The week of September 19th to the 26th was one of delivering the message of peace. This was a joint effort between local groups from First Parish Church as well as the Rotary Club of Bridgewater's. BSU assisted for the efforts from the Martin Richard Institute of Social Justice and the Dr. Edward Minuk Institute for Global Engagement. The 19th was Peace Sunday, and there was a peace pole gathering outside of the church on School Street. Parishioners gathered on the lawn, singing songs and starting discussions in the first part of the week's dedication to international peace. Zoom meetings were held with different forums discussing how the community could spread the positive message. The week concluded with the International Day for the Total Elimination of Nuclear Weapons on the 26th.
Bridgewater State students returned to full in-person classes for the first time in over 18 months back in September. As they returned to campus, I had a chance to talk to BSU President Fred Clark about some of the safety measures being taken as well as his thoughts on students finally coming back to the campus. And we also talked about the commencement celebration that took place, at Gillette Stadium earlier this year. And before we look ahead, I wanted to look back to the month of July 29th, 30th, and 31st. The university was at Gillette Stadium celebrating the academic achievements of the class of 2020, 2021, and the graduate studies. And this actually goes back to a promise you made, I believe, in 2020 when the commencement was postponed, saying that the graduates were going to be recognized, going to have their moment on stage. How important is it to you, not just as an alumni, but the president of a major Massachusetts university, to keep that promise true and to have it take place at Gillette Stadium?
I think it's very important for our students to walk across that stage. It's a symbol of their achievement, and it's important not just for themselves, but for their family and for their communities as well. I remember the class of 1968. I know I'm going back. On their 50th anniversary, the class of 1968 were here at Bridgewater. They were robbed. They didn't have a commencement because Bobby Kennedy was killed the day before commencement. They canceled it. They never had the chance to walk across the stage. 50 years later, we gave them that chance right in Horace Mann Hall here. And as those students walked across the stage, they cried their eyes out. 50 years later. And the reason that they did is because it is important to walk across that stage symbolically. And I vowed then that I would never, ever cancel a commencement ceremony. So it was really the class of 68 that was my inspiration. And I can tell you from the emotion, from the excitement of the 30,000 people that came to cheer on safely our students crossing that stage, I am so glad that we were able to provide that opportunity for our students at Gillette Stadium. Plus, it was a lot of fun.
Even before this interview, I saw you talking to a number of the students before we came on, and it's just such a friendly feeling here, and it's been that way for a long time, especially since you came on as president of the university. Being out among the students, how important is that, and why does it play such a key role in maybe the student atmosphere here at BSU?
Well, my office is right up there, and if I sat in my office all day long, I wouldn't learn a thing about what we could do to make this campus a better experience for our students. I talk to our students because, first of all, I work for them. I have 10,000 bosses, and I learn from them when I talk to them about what we can do better to provide a better service for them, a better learning environment, additional opportunities for them to take advantage of. So every time I talk to a student, I become a better president and better able to serve them, which is why I try as much as I can to be out amongst them. And I love it. It's good medicine for me.
We're in a time now in the world where safety protocols really are in effect, and I saw that there was an email that went out to the students as far as some of the safety protocols. I believe there's a 98.5% vaccination rate as far as the COVID vaccine goes, and masks are going to be required indoors through September 30th, I believe. But for students who haven't really gotten to campus yet or are going to be late arriving, what are some of the things they can expect to see? Because there are parents who may be a little uneasy about their student going to a different university in a town miles away.
Yep. Well, I'd go back just a little bit. Before the pandemic, we were voted the top 5 institutions in the United States for being safe. That was before the pandemic hit. During the pandemic, through a lot of different protocols, we had a 1% positivity. It was actually a little bit lower than 1% positivity. So we know how to keep our students safe, and they've been excellent at keeping each other safe as well. A lot of those protocols have moved forward. So today, because of the vaccine availability, we require all of our students to be vaccinated. If they're not vaccinated, we do give them an opportunity to be exempted for religious or medical purposes. So as of last week, 91% of our students were fully vaccinated. 98% of our faculty and staff are vaccinated. We'll now be able to require our faculty and staff to be fully vaccinated with some state level activity that's occurred. In addition to that, we are requiring mask wearing indoors, which we think is an added protocol of safety, even though we have a very high vaccination rate on campus. We'll also be testing every single week any student that is exempted, and any faculty or staff member or community member that wants to get tested for free on a weekly basis. We'll be doing that, about 1,000 tests per week going forward. And we'll see where we are at the end of September. And it's possible we'll extend, but we'll see where the country is, where the region is, and hopefully we'll be okay.
And there's a number of people with vested interest in the beginning of school. Obviously the students, the faculty, the residents of town that's going to be dealing with the increased traffic flow, the local businesses, they're going to see a spike in business. Do you have a message for everybody watching that may have that vested interest in the beginning of school here at BSU?
Well, I think our friends in the town of Bridgewater, and particularly in the business community, missed our students, missed our faculty and staff, and I know businesses really struggled during that period of time. And our students are already, and our faculty and staff are already patronizing all the businesses that they are used to patronizing. So that's good busy. And I'm sure that the businesses will agree with it. We do have about 8% less students than we did pre-pandemic, so that's about 800 less students. That will translate to less cars on the road. So hopefully the impacts of Bridgewater State on the town will be mitigated to a degree, but I think people are going to be very happy that Bridgewater's back.
BCCR recently held a forum concerning the tragedy of how Native American students were treated in U.S. residential schools. Orange Shirt Day, held on September 30th, brings awareness to these events. You can find out more by tuning into Channel 9 on Sunday at 3 p.m., Monday and Thursday at 8 p.m., and Saturday at 7:30 p.m. We'll also have it available at our website, btvaccess.com.
A couple of popular returns to the community as the 5K and Autumn Fest are back. We'll have more on these early fall traditions coming up next.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. Opening a My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal record and interactive tools tailored for you. You can see if you are eligible to receive benefits, view spousal benefit estimates, and compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates when you want to start receiving benefits. Already receiving benefits? Use your account to change your address, set up or change direct deposit, get a proof of income letter, and more. In most states, you can also request a replacement Social Security card. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
You've messed up your son's haircut.
Mom?
Do you A, try to fix it?
Like it never happened.
B, work with what you got? Or C, show solidarity?
Thank you, baby.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Before the start of the school year at Bridgewater Middle School, there was a special school supply drop-off event held thanks to the Bridgewater Community Alliance Club. Dozens of notebooks, pencils, pens, crayons, and so much more were loaded into the backpacks for the first day of school for the students at the middle school on Mount Prospect Street.
Who's ready to race? Woo!
We saw the return of a couple of fun traditions here in town on September 25th. The last Saturday of the month got started at the police station with a BPD 5K and Kids 1 Mile Fun Run. After missing last year, the event raised money for Project PAC, which is a non-profit organization that assists survivors of sexual assault throughout Massachusetts with post-assault comfort kits. Trophies were awarded to the top 3 racers in each age group and the top 3 entrants in the Kids 1 Mile Fun Run. If you'd like to join next year's race, you can join the Facebook group by searching Bridgewater Police 5K and 1M Kids Fun Run throughout the year, and there are running tips within the group for the Couch to 5K program that starts around June or July. And during the award presentation, race coordinator Rebecca Kaler and Bridgewater Police Chief Chris Del Monte awarded the Sam Baumgarten Legacy Award to Kristen Coyle. The award is given annually to the community member who has positively influenced, encouraged, or inspired kids in town in the development of their individual character and to help promote healthy living through the sport of running. The award for 2020 was given to Rebecca, who was surprised by the recognition.
After the 5K, residents went to Boyden Quad at BSU for the return of Autumn Fest. The event is hosted by the Bridgewater Business Association and welcomes residents and local businesses for a day of fun and getting the word out about what small business here in town have to offer. There were popular activities including the trackless railroad and pumpkin painting, and the emergency services had demonstrated with the police showing canine demonstrations and the fire department demonstrating the jaws of life.
While some may not know this, but there are students from Bridgewater and Rainham that do go to Bristol Plymouth Technical School, and that school received a big honor recently. BP was named the top practical nursing program in Massachusetts by Nursing Schools Almanac. There is a process in compiling the list, including student performance on the National Council Licensure Examination for Practical Nurses, which must be passed before they can practice nursing. Among first-time test takers, BP had a pass rate of 99.1%. Coming in at number 2 was Southeastern Technical Institute, and Blackstone Valley Regional Vocational Tech rounded out the top 3.
September 29th was World Heart Day. Each year, about 1 million women worldwide suffer from a serious type of heart attack caused by a blockage. Previous research shows women, in comparison to men, often have lower survival rates and lower quality of life after these events. Now, a Cleveland Clinic study shows this trend can be reversed when healthcare providers follow a standardized care plan.
The differences in terms of mortality or survival, along with serious complications, drop dramatically in women to the point where they're very similar to men, something that's never been reported before.
Dr. Mashcote and his team established a standard care plan for men and women who suffered these severe heart attacks. The plan included specific criteria for getting patients to the cardiac cath lab quickly, a checklist for care, as well as procedural changes to deliver care to the heart more effectively. Dr. Coate says that the standard care plan resulted in dramatic improvement in how quickly people were treated across the board. 5-year data shows heart attack outcomes improved in women in particular, reducing deaths by more than 50% and eliminating gender disparities.
We often focused in the past about being fast, and I think fast is important, but what is even more important is to eliminate what we call care variability. What that means is that we should have the same standard process in this type of life-threatening situation for everyone. And if we do that, patients who are at higher risk of having bad outcomes do even better.
It's important for anybody experiencing heart attack symptoms to seek medical care immediately, regardless of what's going on with the pandemic. He says it's critically important to get to the hospital quickly if you suspect heart-related trouble.
Certainly great information, especially with this important time here. And we're going to switch gears now because this is the time in the show when we tell you about some trending news that has happened over the past month. And we start off with Amazon, which unveiled a nightmare come to life for those that are afraid of a robot uprising. Kind of one of those. This is Astro, yep, just like the Jetsons dog, and more evidence that the show might actually be able to tell the future. Astro has cameras, sensors, and tools to avoid walls, animals, people, and more. It also has a cup holder and a monitor that allows for video calls while also showing a pair of computer eyes, and you can log into the robot's camera to act as a security camera. Amazon has said a limited number of these robots will be sold, and surprisingly, for Amazon standards, this won't break the bank compared to other gadgets, as Astro will only set you back $1,000. And I mean, I had the Facebook portal. That was kind of weird because that would turn, when people were talking.
It kind of reminds me of those little robots that are around Bridgewater's campus now that deliver food. Yeah.
Kind of makes it easy if you're, allergic to dogs.
Yeah, seriously. And maybe Astro is a good item to put on a Christmas list for Santa this year.
Could be.
Speaking of Christmas costs, it may cost a little more this year to spread the holiday cheer. You've probably heard about all the supply chain issues, but it's about to cost a little extra for those that buy artificial Christmas trees and decorations. The American Christmas Tree Association is predicting that there will be a shortage of fake trees, and prices have risen at least 20%. To give you a better idea of the impact, there are 94 million households that celebrated the holiday with a tree. About 85% of those households had a fake tree. These fires out west, and more specifically in the Northwest, along with the droughts, have affected some of the fields that the real trees are grown in. Because of that, farmers have lost potentially 90% of their crop. The one tip given by ACTA is to find and buy your Christmas tree early.
So for those that maybe didn't want to celebrate Christmas in, October with all the decorations, maybe it's a win for us.
Maybe it is, yeah.
But there's actually a group that just worries about Christmas trees?
I guess so. There's a group for everything, John. If you have an interest, there's a group for it somewhere.
Speaking of a group, we've told you in the past about Music Alley, which is a non-profit outdoor concert venue that brings great music to residents on Thursday nights during the summertime, and that was the case again this year. The final concert of the year featured Leroy Street, and as we go to break, we have a sample of what you'll hear coming up on a future edition of Music Alley Presents.
Let's go. Yeah. Tell them we're finally here and mark the day. I want the date and time when you first decided to play. This ain't the introduction of something along the way. Simple pride that was used to go fuel what I have to say. What you got to say? I got a lot that's on my mind. I appreciate you wanting to listen and take the time. That pause button is always there if you feel inclined. I may say some things you don't like at any time. Let's get into it. There's some things that you need to know. Things I got on my heart I've been meaning to let go. Like one, I'm a liar. I've been lying for years. I lie so much as even times I brought my mother to tears. Or two, I'm a sinner. Should have said that first. Sin so much if it was a drug I'd be in my hearse. I'm not cursed. This ain't me feeling bad for myself. It's amnesty in my music, the freedom to be myself, cause I'm here. Yeah. Hey, let them know that we here. I came through something smooth. Someone go and have them tell them I'm here. Yeah. And I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Yeah. Hey, tell them we here. Hey. Hey. I got kicked about the church and then let back in. I guess they felt they had the power to absolve my sins. I saw the power of the truth and what it could do. Unfortunately, at that moment, it was in the wrong hands. Me and Richie used to think that we were pushing malice. Two brothers who shared a passion. Nobody can match us. Truth is, from the jump, you never had a point to prove. We were bluff from the beginning. You was always my dude. We here. It's the feeling that you get when you win. The feeling of being king of everything with a pen. It's the feeling of being high without the plan to enhance it. The feeling of taking risks when everyone is against it. You know how many can really mess with the flow. The genesis of the movement is the start of the show. Lights blasting in the halls, curtains race to the bar. God's army has started marching wherever you are. You know, there's some things that you need to know. Things I got on my heart and it's ready to explode. Like one, I'm a liar, I've been lying for years. I lie so much as even times I brought my mother to tears. Or two, I'm a sinner, should have said that first. I said so much if it was a drug, I'd be in my hearse. I'm not cursed. This ain't me feeling bad for myself. It's amnesty in my music, the freedom to be myself, cause I'm... Yeah. Hey, tell them we here.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Hey? God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
The BR Trojans football team kicked off a new era over the past month. Lou Pacheco taking over coaching duties from Dan Bjorn, who retired back in the spring, and the football team brought back a number of players, but the starting quarterback, who is a sophomore, led the Trojans into a very tough month of September. Duxbury, Xaverian, and St. John's Prep were 3 of the teams, and all 3 were ranked in the top 10 at some point in September. Although BR continues to search for its first win of the season, there were some highlights from their game on October 1st against St. John's Prep in Brockton. In the first quarter, on 4th down, sophomore quarterback Declan Byrne connected with senior Ryan Raheny for a highlight reel 25-yard completion. Following that play was a Michael Rubo 2-yard touchdown run to put the Trojans in front after a 2-point conversion, 8-0. However, on the ensuing St. John's drive, Jack Perry connected with Jackson Delaney for a 57-yard touchdown pass. And in the fourth quarter, with the game decided, a Dawson DeBose touchdown run closed out the Trojans scoring for the night as BR fell to the Eagles 40-14. And turning to the university, the BSU Bears took on a pretty tough non-conference schedule to open up the season. Ithaca, who are a regular threat in their conference, the Liberty League, and the University of New England, who play in the very tough Commonwealth Coast Conference. After losing an overtime game against UNE, the Bears opened conference play up against Plymouth State, which was a 27-24 win. 1 week later, on the 24th, BSU fans packed Swenson Field for a game against Western Connecticut State, and much like the first two MassCat games of the season, this one was decided again in the final moments.
Pass to Ryan Verria. Caught for the touchdown! Ryan Verria with 8 seconds left. The pass is caught. Touchdown for the Bears. Massive, massive play by the Bears. Even after having to drop in the end zone earlier, Ryan Verria holds on to this one for the touchdown.
Ryan Verria, son of Joe Verria, with the game winner for BSU, and that win was followed up with a dominating 42-0 victory over a winless Fitchburg State squad. Getting back to the WestCon game, though, as that seemed to turn the Bears' luck around in the second half, the previous two games against Plymouth State and UNE started the third quarter with BSU in the lead by 10 or more points, with a loss against UNE and squeaking out a victory against Plymouth State. The second half drive saw the Bears score twice, with both scores coming against the Panthers. Against WestCon, however, BSU had 3 touchdowns as they outscored the visitors 21-7 in the second half, and the team returns home to Swenson Field after a bye week for a homecoming matchup later on this month against Westfield State, followed by the regular season home finale against UMass Dartmouth. And that's a look at sports for this week. A busy time for BSU, BR football, and it just gets crazier.
Yeah, it's just going to keep going. We have some fun events coming up at the Bridgewater Public Library as well. Bridgewater State's Observatory Manager and Astronomy Professor Jamie Kern will host a presentation in the library's Flora T. Little meeting room on October 12th from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Astronomy photography will be featured, as will some of the projects that the students at the university are working on.
Something else taking place at the library is the Massachusetts Ghostbusters visiting in their Ectomobile. Wow. I actually saw this movie, so pretty impressive.
Oh, thank God.
It takes place on Tuesday, October 26th from 4 to 8 p.m., where they will be reading stories and making slime. Nice. This will be taking place behind the library, so make sure to go get your picture taken with the Ghostbusters and their car. Not sure if there's any ghosts involved, but maybe you'll find out then. Find out more about the fun local activities taking place for people of all ages at bridgewaterpubliclibrary.org. This note goes out to all the cribbage players watching, as the Bridgewater Lions will be hosting a cribbage tournament on the 22nd at 6 p.m. The cost is $25, and 50% of the proceeds going to the Lions Club charities and the other 50% going to the prizes for the event. This will be taking place at the Polish Club at 127 Spring Street, and the RSVP, call Carl Hansen at 508-813-0759 or email chansen565@yahoo.com. Can you play cribbage? Do you know how?
I can, actually. I'm pretty
Really?
good at cribbage. Yep, my dad taught me when I was a little kid.
I'm still stuck on Candyland, shooting flowers, so I'll work my way up
Yeah,
there.
you have to actually know how to count to do cribbage, Sean.
Oh, I'm done. As we are in the month of October, that means it's time to get spooky around here.
We are already getting the plans together for our Halloween newscast coming up at the end of the month, and we need your help.
Send us photos, videos of your Halloween decorations, or if you want to show up your Halloween costume, we'd love to see it and potentially use it on the show. It's very simple to do. Just email jluck@btvaccess.com with the subject line Halloween Show Pics. And it's been a big conversation around here because costumes are already coming in, and we got
we missed last year, so we have to step up our game for this year.
And even more, we coordinated and pre-thought this. So
we did. We put a lot of thought into it. Yep.
And we thank you for watching this edition of the program. Don't forget you can watch us anywhere you go.
On social media, we are on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. I'm Mary Evers.
I'm John Luck.